Give me a moment here. I'm hitting the chat, setting up my iPad to monitor this stream, and I'll be gathering up some lighters that I'm possibly going to have some projects on or just talking to you about. So if you come along and you don't hear me, I need to go turn that thermostat down. If you don't hear me, it's just because I'm away to gather something up, and I'll be right back. If you've been here for one of our streams before, then you are aware that you may hear some leaf herders outside. That or somebody jackhammering through concrete or moving a crane around. There's all kinds of construction down here in Deep Deuce of Oklahoma City. Say hello if you're in the stream, in the chat. Let me know that you can hear me. Let me know who you are if we haven't met before, where you're from, what it is that brought you here, what it is that you love about vintage petrol lighters. This is me just getting hopefully getting the opportunity to answer a question or two while I'm setting up, and not exactly piddling around, but I'm not in a huge hurry to do what I'm doing today. I'm trying to temper my expectations as to exactly what I can accomplish. And I think that I have come upon at least a upload schedule and actual day that I can, or days that I can figure out to where I can get some work done for the channel. Just been really busy lately with family, and that's awesome. I don't want to slow down on that at all, but also would like to keep cranking out vintage petrol lighter content. And so anyway, trying to figure out the best ways to do that. Also, let me know if there's any problem at all with the sound. I noticed right before starting this stream, I went and watched the beginning of the last stream, and I noticed that the microphone was popping a little bit. So I'll try to keep my hands off of all the wires, and let me know if you hear anything that that we shouldn't be hearing. I'm going to take a minute here and try to share this. Well, I need to get up on YouTube anyway first. That's actually where I usually see who's asking questions and all that sort of stuff. And this iPad, I don't have YouTube downloaded, so I'll just have to go there on a browser. Okay, got that up, and I see my old buddy Shane is with us today. They're doing great, my man. Yeah, I've been with them all day. Well, all day that their mother was at work for the last 4 days. I watch them every Wednesday and Thursday now, and their dad's work schedule has changed a little bit, so I'm pretty where I was just watching Wednesday, Thursday every time he was at work. and he was working every other Wednesday and Thursday. Now he's working every Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah, it's all good. Man, yeah, they're something else. The girl, she is as independent as any kid I've ever met in my life, and the boy is he's a little dump truck. He's a tank. He is a stout little man. About to start walking, already trying to stand up all on his own without any help. Yeah, just turned one. Be 13 months, I guess, here in a couple weeks, a little less. Hello, Yasha. I don't remember you being in the stream before. I'm glad you're with us today. If you don't mind, let me know where you're from, and correct me if you have been here before. What's up with you, Shane? What have you been up to? I have kept up with you by what's the word? It's not trolling. I've basically watched your Facebook posts, a lot of which I like, you know that. But I click on a lot of things and see your comments because we don't talk on the phone much anymore. So just want to make sure that everything's still going good. So glad to see you. Said the other day that Waylon was starting wrestling, and also all the chess, the posts you had about his chess competitions. Having the first cup of coffee that I've had in a while, cup of decaf, and I drank part of it while I was eating breakfast. So that's heavy whipping cream, and I've already added almond milk and ice. Hello, Nikki Petanieo. I don't remember you being here as well, from Tallahassee. Glad to have you. Yasha says, Mumbai, India. First time here. Been following for the last 3-4 months. Thanks for the work you're doing trying to educate us. Yeah, I'm just trying to put out there, what I do. When I started, there wasn't a whole lot of information, definitely video-wise. And so, yeah, it's just trying to document what I do. And as I learn along the way, I've made a lot of mistakes. And, sometimes I get criticized for those in the comment section of those videos. That's all right. I started posting videos in the summer of 2018. Toward the end of that summer, which I went and visited my buddy Shane, or David as you'll see him here in the live chat. Anyway, yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And it's all really just me trying to document what I do, and what I do is have a lot of fun with old lighters, so it's pretty enjoyable. It's just a matter of finding the time, and I've got quite a few projects now that are starting to pile up, so like I said, I've hopefully got I used to post a full-length video every weekday morning, and then at one point I was also trying to post a short each weekday at noon. And I think I'm going to keep trying to do the shorts because it's just been too much to keep up with the way I've had been trying to do it here lately. Like in December, you say you've been with us here for 3 or 4 months. I feel like I owe you an apology because we haven't had a whole lot of new content, but I think I'll try to keep doing the short at noon every day during the week, and then a full-length video hopefully on Saturday. That's my plan. We'll see. Hopefully I can figure out some other things to help. But so Nikki is from Tallahassee. David is from the Pacific Northwest of the United States, and Yasha is in Mumbai. So I appreciate all of you being with us this morning. I still got a few more things I need to grab here. although the main video that I plan on recording and working on today, the lighter for that is sitting right there in front of you. Really cool lighter that I figured it would be impressive looking, and I owned a very similar lighter that I just sold back in November, December, that had the same dragon on it, but just in brass. And I don't know if the paint or whatever medium this is, I don't even know for sure that that is paint. Such a strange iridescent effect to it. But the video where I unboxed this, I published that a couple weeks ago, and I tightened this mechanism up during that video because it was loose, and I probably shouldn't have done that because it probably should have just gone ahead and loosened it up and pulled everything out, but I wasn't really ready to work on it. I was kind of in a time constraint the day that I recorded that video. So anyway, I have cleaned it up somewhat since, just with a common household disinfectant cloth, and pulled quite a bit of grime off of it, especially from the areas next to the panel. And the backside, it had been used pretty extensively. There was a good amount of soot kind of spilled over into this hobnail or checkering, whatever you call that. So you can still see remnants of that soot and carbon buildup, but cleaned it up quite a bit. Anyway, that's the video. We're going to take the mechanism off of there and do an overview of the whole lighter, and been looking forward to that all week. And it's not very often that I have the opportunity. Trying to not sure why I'm not seeing all the, oh, here we go, live chat. Now I forgot what I was saying. Oh, that's the video I'm going to be making. Take that mechanism off, get it hopefully working. Isn't that a cool lighter though? I also need to get to work on the website. I had a problem back, I think before Christmas even. I was trying to create some listings there on the page. All our eBay listings, I actually serve those through the website and then use affiliate links to take you to eBay. And I had some problems with my hosting, and I had to have my website moved over to a different server and all this other stuff. So I haven't gotten back over there to, like I said, I've been really busy. So wanted to get to Yasha's other comment. He said, no, that's fine. I've repaired 2 lighter myself. Just seeing the earlier videos you've posted. One was a Ronson Baraflame and the other one was a Penguin. Well, I'm glad that I was able to be of some help to you, but I'm curious, Yasha, how was I able to help with the Ronson Baraflame? Was it just with the flint, the sparking system? Because I certainly wasn't any help with the fuel system on a butane lighter. I use butane lighters. It's practically all I use these days. But I'm like a caveman rubbing 2 sticks together with these things half the time, because it's just such, I mean, I could start throwing butane lighters out here that have crapped out on me just in the last, just since I last cleaned up the bar here where I'm set up recording this. All those butane lighters are now non-functioning. those two jet lights, these two Jeeps, this other similar one, I bought that at a local smoke shop. I take this one back. This one will work if you fuel it with the little small. My main butane lately has been this Neon. By the way, is the sound good? Is anybody hearing any cracking or any problems in the sound? Like I said, I noticed that when I was watching last week's. Hello, Mark. Glad to have you with us. Yeah, I blanked on your name the last time, Mark, when toward the beginning of that video, when I was listening to a portion of it right before I started this one, which I'm always going to forget somebody when I try to shout out a few people. Especially try to remember people that we haven't heard from in a while, because, you know, it's kind of like being involved with a YouTube channel like this. It's people come and go and then show back up, and it's an interesting dynamic. And sometimes you have people who are very heavily involved and commenting, and then suddenly they're not. You don't hear from them, and then you realize they were always there. You just you know, they just quit commenting. And I'm friends with so many people on Facebook now, and Instagram, and TikTok, and there's so many different platforms and outlets for posting videos. So I'm sure you guys remember this one. I'm not sure what has caused it. If it's just run out of fuel, I might try to put some in it in a minute. So, but that's not a jet lighter, so this one I don't count as. But all those lighters over there, those are all the jet lighters that I use to heat the dab straws. And these little cheap 350 clipper lighters seem to function okay, and they're good enough to heat that dab straw to glowing. But if you try to fuel them with these, I don't know about this one. This is an empty can that I've had around here forever. I've got Neon, I've used to use Vector, they seem to be about the same to me, but either one, just, I don't know if it's just under too much pressure or what the thing is, but this lighter did not function well with that butane in it. It seems to do well with the little butane that it came with. Of course, buying these little cans like this I don't think is going to be cost effective, so. But it's a little 350 lighter, you know. If you need one for a trip you're on or something, then maybe it's worth it. But I really wouldn't recommend this one, even though it does come in handy to me here and there. But all those others have just flat quit working. They're worthless. Those two jet lights, the two Jeeps. The Jeeps, this one won't light, even though it has fuel in it, and this one won't accept fuel. And once again, I'm ignorant. I don't know anything about butane. I don't know. Maybe I need to broaden my horizons. But those little cans, you'll get, I think, probably at least 4 fill-ups. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera. Yeah, you can see where there's still liquid in this one on the right. If there's any on the one on the left, it's very, very little. But you can still see it waving around there. The one on the right. And I've used that at least twice already. Oh, wow, cool. Yasha, he says the Veriflame was converted to petrol by the person I bought it from. I learned wicking, wadding, and put it back to working condition. Cool. Yeah, that's a. So tell me about that. Does this have the fuel port in the on the back end or the side, not the bottom? I think you got Veriflames that come both ways, where you fill them on bottom or in the back end. So I'm kind of curious what exactly it entailed to turn that Veriflame into a petrol lighter. You know, I've done a lot of videos about the Bentley butanes, turning those into petrol lighters, so I'm always keen to learn of another one that has a fairly simple conversion. Does it look like that might have been a fairly simple conversion or pretty difficult? I don't have a lot of machinery. I don't have a drill press or small lathe or anything. I've got a few hand tools. Mark says he's only had one butane lighter in his life that is reliable, a Rhino quad flame that I used to use top grade butane in from day one. Still works. Had it almost 15 years. Wow, Rhino quad flame. How much did you pay for that, Mark? That's part of the problem is like ST DuPont makes one called a clinch that I don't know exactly where the mechanism is, but it goes from, I think it's the only jet flame lighter that they make, and it's over $1,000. And it's not even a pure jet flame. Like I said, I think it lights like a cigarette flame, and then you soft yellow flame, and then you press in the button on the front of it maybe, or a bar mechanism on the front of it, then that converts it to a jet flame. So it just seems like, you know, those two are done, but these are pretty good lighters. This one may need fuel, maybe toward the end of its fuel life. I got another one. Not sure what I did with that. Oh, there it is. So I got two of them here. I got a few others that I still need to round out, but these two work okay. And this one is the one that I just bought in the last 3 or 4 months, and it's still working just fine. So for what you pay for these, they're worth every bit of. I think the last one I paid $4.99 or $5.50, maybe $6 at Dollar General. It's worth $6 for sure. When you pay $3.50 for this, and then it craps out in a matter of a few uses, simply because you can't put butane in it. When that, I mean, from my experience, this product right here is only going to be good as long as you get this small butane to pump into it. You can hear the construction in the background. Let me know if that gets too distracting or loud. The parking lot down here between Deep Deuce and Bricktown, that I'm trying to remember what that company is. Stanley, I can't remember now. There was a big company down there in Bricktown that I thought it was their parking lot, but there's a big building now being constructed right on the other side of the kind of where the railroad tracks meet over there. $50 back then, so that would have, excuse me. Sorry about that. So $50 15 years ago, that would have been considerably more than today. Especially if you judge by egg prices. It's getting ridiculous again. Anyway, I can hear them hammering back there. And you can't really even tell yet what it is that they're constructing. So what other kind of lighter content have you guys been consuming lately? Anybody seen any of ZF77's videos? ZF77 Outdoors or Eastwa Dune Flam? I get a notification pretty much every day about a new video from Eastwa Dune Flam. And always a wide variety. Also, Yasha, you mentioned a penguin earlier, penguin lighter. What was the penguin lighter that you repaired? Yeah, that clanging you heard was me burning my hand on the tip of that tab straw, which is something that does occur. Wow. Tornado warning last night for about an hour. Remind me where you're at, Mark. Are you in Kentucky or somewhere in the South, aren't you? Louisiana? Tennessee, there you go. Yeah, this is not the time of year. I forget back, we had a month back here, like in October or November, maybe November, where we broke a record for number of tornadoes. It may have been the record for the number of tornadoes in any month. I can't remember, but it was mind-boggling that had happened. You think about that in, spring, March, April, May, June. You don't think about it in the fall. But they've talked about here lately how they thought that Tornado Alley had shifted. I think the last couple of years may have changed that, I don't know. So, I don't know. Just like there's certain aspects of all those kind of things that may, different years are worse for hurricanes, and who knows about the earthquakes. Growing up, I didn't even know it was possible for Oklahoma to have earthquakes. It seemed crazy. But for the last 20 years, it's been commonplace around here. And it's not like they're devastating, huge, craters in the ground or tearing houses apart or buildings falling down or anything like some really bad things that have happened on the West Coast over the history of our country, but it's enough to put you, make you a little uneasy. And it does damage some homes. I mean, some actually, earthquake insurance is a thing around here where it didn't used to be. I never heard of it. Still need to gather up a few tools here. Maybe, maybe not. You know, one of the cool things about these Cygnus lighters is that to adjust the flint, you don't need a screwdriver. But to actually disassemble the flint tension mechanism, which is what I need to do, because it doesn't matter which way you try to turn the wheel, it's just seized up. And even though when I bought it, it was sold as having a good spark, it probably was producing a good spark, but that seller just wasn't aware, I would hope anyway, that the seller just didn't notice that it was so loose. And that's what it was. It was, and you find that a lot of times. That I've even gotten these lighters with this reassembled incorrectly, backward. But anyway, we should be able to disassemble this, maybe put a little bit of oil on a part or two. That's a big maybe, because that's not something that I do very often. And it's typically not needed and may cause more problems than anything else. But other than that, everything else seemed to be in pretty good condition. Good rubber seal on that one. Messaged the seller on Facebook, or I'm sorry, on eBay. I'm looking at the lighter, the pictures. It was obvious to me that it didn't have a seal, and I questioned them because they didn't disclose that in the listing. Said new, unused, rare. And from looking at the lighter, I wasn't sure that any of that was true. Anyway, they didn't respond to me, even though I sent a question a couple of times before the listing ended. Then they responded after the listing ended, telling me that it was a rubber seal, but I don't think it had a seal on it at all. I think they just wanted to make sure that I wasn't the one that was going to buy that lighter before they lied to me and told me something was true that they had actually just not disclosed and didn't want to admit. But that's the kind of thing that, I mean, I'm pretty new to this, and for me, you need to disclose if there's not a gasket on the fuel screw, especially if you're selling the lighter as new, unused. And it was a Cygnus lighter. They're pretty easy to tell when the gasket isn't there, even with the paper ones, because they seat so much closer. It's relatively apparent. Anybody know anything about what this paint or what this process might be that made the color and background for this dragon? I think iridescent is the correct term for the effect of the color anyway. Sort of a gold, green, pinkish red. Yeah, gold, green, pink. Yeah, gold, green, pink, I'd say. But the fuel screw, or the spare flint compartment of the fuel screw, that was all cleared out too. You see some wear there to the back of the snuffer. So it's not a perfect lighter, but that's nothing to me. I'm not about owning perfect lighters. I'm about using the lighters that I have. And I'm going to own this one for a little bit for sure, but at some point it will likely be for sale. Hello, Big Sam Friedrich. Glad to hear from you, my friend. Glad to have you both with us. Big Sam says dope lighter. Yeah, I'm pretty thrilled with it, man. It's cool. Friedrich says could be Urishi lacquered with Mackie. Yeah, I don't know exactly what that is, but I know what you're talking about, at least in a general sense. I know that there were Dunhills that had that sort of artwork done. But I don't know, I mean, it almost doesn't look like paint. It's almost like a dye or something. But I wonder too, after seeing this and holding this in my hand, Friedrich, or any of the rest of you as well, do you remember the one that I had that had this dragon on it but did not have the color? But I mean, it didn't even have a hint of it, the background or the color in the dragon. So it makes me wonder whether they just did it both ways, one that was just brass, or had that actually worn off and just completely worn off. If that's the case, it really makes me worry about using this one at all, because I wouldn't want to do anything that would cause any stress on that then suddenly wants to make the entire thing come off that brass strip that it's actually a carpet fiber or something. I couldn't see suddenly show up there. Anyway, yeah, it's a cool lighter, but I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, one of the coolest I've ever owned, though. Put it right up there with all the Cygnus, all the best Cygnuses that I've owned, and still own a few of. And, you know, I've owned some Dunhills that were pretty cool. Some Zippos that were pretty cool. Sterling Silver. Black Crackles. It's a pretty cool lighter. Yeah, that's certainly possible too. It is possible. I'd forgotten that I'd sold it, and I sold it to a good friend of the channel, so who knows, maybe he ends up buying that one and putting the pair together. But I'd forgotten, so I was really looking forward to, you know, comparing them, having them hand in hand, and then realized I'd sold it. Yeah, it's a really cool lighter. But I would be curious if anybody knows exactly what the artwork is and the process, what it is appropriately called or categorized. It's now dawning on me that it may be difficult to make a video. Can you guys hear that hammering in the background from time to time? I hope I'm not sitting around mad when we get off here. I may just have to record it and live with it. Anyway, it's got a shimmer to it. Really cool effect of the paint or whatever that is. Still got a couple tools. Need to grab some canned air. Vector, it's pretty much the only butane I had used for the last 4 or 5 years until they ran dry. I used to mainly use a propane torch for the dab straws, but it's the cheap Bernzomatic $15-20 torch. I was going through those like these kind of lighters. They were failing left and right, and I got tired of paying for them. So I bought the bigger one, and it works great. It's a little too hot, so you got to be a little bit careful, but you can heat it literally in, I mean, you just touch it. But it's loud. It's annoying. So that ends up with me trying to use smaller lighters that aren't as loud. And a lot of times, well, I mean, that's all it is. If it was just for if it wasn't for it being so loud, I'd be using that big Bernzomatic torch. But if you're watching something on TV, you got to pause it, or you got to turn the podcast down if you're listening. You just can't hear anything. It's so loud. But now suddenly it sounds quiet outside. So maybe it'll be quiet enough that I can get some work done in an efficient manner, productive, quality, informative, and helpful. Hopefully. So, Japanese black lacquer. It reminded me, let me go grab that other. Got a similar, when you said, when Friedrich said Mackie, let me go back up here real quick. Mark had mentioned a flood. He said that's the flood from Helene that hit out here, 41 trillion gallons of water, 600 million from Florida. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Friedrich said, or Mark talking about the black lacquer. Let me go get this lighter to compare it to. Oh, really? I had no idea. I had no idea about that. Friedrich says that the area of Japan where they do that artwork was destroyed in the last earthquake. Give me a second. Let me grab this other lighter. It's funny too that here I'm comparing it to this one, and I kind of considered this one as one that I would never sell. And this newer one is actually artwork's more intact. Here I'm already telling you that I'll probably sell it, so who knows, maybe I end up selling all these. I've been given a few lighters here in the last few years, which is really kind of, one of those was from Friedrich, a table lighter, and I appreciate all of those greatly. And of course, any lighter that anybody ever gives me as a gift, I'm never going to sell. So it kind of makes it a little bit easier to sell some of these other lighters, is because I know that, you know, I'm never going to be without lighters. I've been gifted enough here in the last few years that, I don't know, at least 3 that I can think of. Friedrich, Sean, Bill Calkins. There may be some more. And those were all Cygnus lighters. Anyway, just that right there is a pretty good, probably about 10% of what I consider to, I never want to have over about 30 to 50 lighters. And right now I've got probably closer to 100. So I really probably need to thin some of these out. I just don't have the space to keep them all. Anyway, just to look at, first of all, this lighter is just one-sided, and I believe it's on the brass panel. This lighter is actually painted on the lighter. Both aluminum, but different design. This is Mount Fuji, and I'm not sure about what this artwork, the technical names for this artwork, but you know, there are some damage to it, and yet you can see that there's a thickness to the paint. Hello, B-Funk. Glad to have you with us. Yes, this one does not work yet because the mechanism needs to be repaired or cleaned up, refurbished, whatever you want to call it. This one does. And I'll grab some fuel and fuel it up and show you. But it's not, for me, I'm not about collecting things so they can just sit around. If I'm going to collect them, then they need to work. And thank you, B-Funk, for asking. This lighter is one that I am never going to put in my pocket and carry around with me, because the artwork on it, you know, as I said, you can already see some damage on the edges here and there. Such a cool lighter. But I'm not going to put it in my pocket, but I will still fuel it up now and then, especially when you ask if it works, because that's the whole purpose. This has what I call a paper gasket. If you worked on old automobiles, then you remember seeing this sort of material in reddish or beige, brown type colors. I think the rubber gaskets are probably better. And this lighter will only hold about 2.5 squirts of the dropper. Well, at least that has been my recent experience. That looks pretty saturated. It looks pretty damp. Not exactly wanting to spill fuel all over that paint that's been there for since the 50s or 60s probably. Your flint tension mechanism. And here I am, by showing you this, putting pressure right there on that paint, so I shouldn't do that any more than is necessary either. But that is how you adjust these lighters. So you want to make sure that you've got enough tension to get a good spark. And we've got a little bit of vapor lock, a little bit of over spillage or over saturation of fuel, so you get that pop. And now that we've got that sparking again, just for when I do sell this, I'll include this, I'll embed this video in the listing. Just so you can see exactly how the lighter has been treated. And that's the only way I've ever cleaned any of these, is with a household disinfectant cloth. But I won't be actuating that flint tension mechanism on this one anymore. I will light it up again though. So thank you, B-Funk. There you go, that is a working lighter. And any single lighter that you see in my eBay store is going to be a working lighter. Otherwise it wouldn't be sold. If it's not, then it's going to be clearly marked as being sold as is, not working. You're not going to wonder whether or not that lighter works or not. But this lighter, it will be a working lighter as soon as we disassemble the thumb roller flint tension mechanism here and get this all moving as it should and unseized. I think it would probably spark. I can't remember if I sparked it in the unboxing video or not. But without knowing for sure, I'm not going to do it until I disassemble it. Like I said, it probably was not wise to just tighten that up when it was loose in the unboxing video. I should have just disassembled it right then. There's some damage to the finish of the painted plate, but it appears as though all the color is there. Just some around the edges of the black background. Really very much intact, just with some minor damage. Really cool. You can kind of feel some of the texture, but I don't know. Pretty awesome lighter. A 3-drawer nightstand. Okay, well, yeah. If that was all I had, then I could definitely do that. But, you know, I got so much other, you know, we live in this apartment in Deep Deuce, small, I don't know, maybe 600 square feet. Don't have a lot of space, and I'm already taking up a lot of space just with this set and everything that, you know, it's all, it all folds down. I can get it out of the way, but it still takes up space. I keep the light mounted on the board just because it's a nuisance to have to redo that every time. And so we're just constantly thinking smaller, smaller, smaller. And I need to make more money off lighters than I have here recently. I've kept a lot, where at the beginning I didn't keep hardly anything. This is a pretty similar lighter, but the artwork, the process is obviously different. I think they're both on brass plates. This is more like what you would see on the State Series lighters. It's like it's filled in where the brass is raised. Where this is a whole different process here. Seems much more intricate. I don't know. Not sure if there's an actual term for this process. Like I said, it reminds me of those flat ad lighters and State Series lighters, like the money clip knife, I think, that I sold that had it was advertising for First National Bank of Guthrie. I don't remember what year, 60s, 70s maybe. But has that really cool image of the bank, and then it's filled in, like I said, with the same, looks like the same kind of process as this. So both very attractive, but at least to me, they seem definitely different. Okay, Clouson, is that how you pronounce that? I think somebody's brought that up before, Friedrich. Oh, okay, so a metallic powder. Yeah, I guess I could see that. It could be why it seems to me more like a dye than a paint. Do you collect lighters, or do you have lighters yourself, B-Funk? Yeah, I love having plenty of lighters around to use, Friedrich. That's the coolest part. Yeah, no, I put you can get these bottles off of Amazon. And I haven't done so. I've got affiliate links on the website, and I mentioned the website as far as our eBay listings. I put all of those on dependableflame.com/current eBay listings. You can find that there in the, I think it's the second excuse me, the second menu. What's happening if my okay, is it back? I don't know what happened there. Figured it was going to kick us off. That's strange. Checking my Wi-Fi connection, everything was fine, but it did it on both devices. Of course, yeah, I don't know. Let me know if anything's still off, if I need to address anything. Anyway, I was talking about these bottles B-Funk had asked me about. But I just buy those plastic bottles of Ronsonol at my local Winco. It's about $4 for a 12-ounce bottle. But it's very easy to waste it trying to squirt it through there, especially when those are full. So, and it's also very easy to lose track and not know exactly how much each lighter needs unless you have a way of measuring it. So I started putting it in here, and so far so good. I like it. I don't know. I've been doing that for the last probably year or so. I don't overfill as many as I used to, and I do have a better idea of how, at least how some lighters that I fill up on a regular basis, how much they need. I know not to put more than 2.5 in a Cygnus lighter. Yeah, That's the cool thing about petrol lighters, Mark, is you just need some wicks, some absorbent material. You can even use cotton balls. But for the longest time, I got by with just Zippo wicks and the occasional new old stock Ronson wick or the Chinese Imco wicks. I never ran into a lighter that I could not wick with one of those three. That's a fact. But I don't know what you might, it makes my head hurt to think what I might even need for butane lighters. Because I don't even always understand why when some of these quit working, it hasn't always been apparent to me. Like, why is this lighter still sound like it's emitting fuel and yet nothing? That one sounds like it's got too much pressure in it. But I've tried these, adjusting them. Undo my screwdriver. I've tried adjusting these up and down. That's all the way down, nothing there. It's not like it's just one place on the range of adjustment. It won't light on any of it. So. Friedrich says he does the bottle too. Yeah, it's I love it. I love it. Yeah, I've seen the gasket material on Amazon. That's something that I plan to do. It's one of those things that just has kind of fallen by the wayside, for one thing, because I haven't had the opportunity to pursue as many projects lately. So I definitely need to remember that. What do you use to cut it? Do you have some kind of tools, or do you just use something really sharp and just take your time, Friedrich? Friedrich says it's part of his morning routine. Have a cup of coffee and choose a lighter and pen for the day. You got a collection of old pens, Friedrich? You seem to have a pretty wide range of interest. Anyway, I can see you collecting more than one thing. That was one thing that was interesting to me both times that I went up and visited with Ted Ballard at the National Lighter Museum in Guthrie, Oklahoma, is he talked to you all day about lighters, and the building was full of lighters, but it was also full of Star Wars memorabilia. And then at one point he picked up there was a case sitting there on top of a shelf full of lighters or something, and it had some dyes in it. I think it was dyes. Some kind of casting or dye or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. It's like a tap builder or anyway, whatever this little tool was, he told me that he was the foremost creators of those dyes or tool, whatever that tool was. He was the guy. Like, I don't know, typically people who are that good at one thing, they probably know it, so I took him at his word. But he was the guy. Like, maybe the best there ever had been at it. So, also his family had made a fortune by his grandfather, or maybe great-grandfather, I can't remember, had built the machine that they used to cut pipeline. not cut pipeline, but to cut the way for pipeline. Well, that's not true. It wasn't to cut the pipeline. It was to bend the pipe so that they didn't have to. It made it more efficient to do it, to keep building those pipelines the way they had. Anyway, apparently made them pretty wealthy, and it's just so strange to see somebody with so many different points. I mean, it's like, of course, by the time I met him, he was 87 years old, but it's like he had lived so many different lives. Thorns Lucky and a Schaefer touchdown pin. Cool. I've never heard of the Schaefer. I've certainly heard of the Thorns, even though I've never owned one. I've owned several single and double claws, table versions, probably at least 5 or 6 table versions, another half dozen double claws, and probably three. No, as far as just pocket versions, probably 2 single claws. But I never owned a Lucky. I never owned an Oriflam. I never owned a Teleflam. That's kind of my dream Thorns, is a Teleflam. I'd really like to hold one of those in my hands and light it up and extend that flame and light a bowl off of it. That would be pretty cool. That would be a good use of an old lighter like that. Yeah. I know they reproduce it. I just I can't really wrap the same enthusiasm around it as with the old lighters. I mean, it's cool and all. Most of them that I have seen, the price, you might as well be buying an old one. You can pretty much get a used one that you could do some work on and make it work. Well, but a Teleflam, that's a little bit different. Yeah, you're going to spend some money on a Teleflam. But I don't know, just the reproduced Chinese or Hong Kong lighters, whichever they are, it's a difficult one for me, because I'm with you. I try not to be judgmental about it. For somebody, gets their hands on one of those, and I don't know though. Like I said though, how much do you pay for how much is the reproduction Teleflam, Friedrich? Mark says he's still using Crown White gas. Yeah, I need to try that. So you use Coleman fuel, huh, Friedrich? You think that you say the electrode, you're talking about the burner valve? Would it help to clean it out? Should I maybe soak some alcohol in there and let it kind of dry up and then blow it out? Yeah. Man, I don't know. $140, that's a lot for a reproduction. That's a lot. I will say though, I saw a Zorro lighter. Man, let me get I'm gonna have to, this is kind of cool. And if it didn't go for that much money, I might have actually bid on this one. Can you hear the beeping out there now? Let me see here. This was really cool. I got another lighter that should be here today. Watch list ended right here. Now this is being sold as Zorro push button lighter, black and gold, new unused, semi-auto. Well, it appears very similar, if not identical. Just need to make that smaller, that'd be a little bit easier. It looks to be an exact copy except for the bottom. And I don't know whether, I don't think this is aluminum, so probably a brass constructed lighter. Looks like a pretty nice painted finish, but obviously has the unique Cygnus flint tension thumb roller mechanism right there. And you see the bracket on the mechanism there. I don't have much room to hit things here. That bracket on that mechanism points to that being the semi-auto version, so that will actuate the lid coming up as you strike it. But it ended up selling for $20 plus $7 shipping, one bidder, and I believe that's about what they go for. I don't know where I saw, well, I can't even remember now if I saw these on Amazon. Seems like maybe I saw them on Amazon. I saw them somewhere and it was around $27, $28. But that looks like an automatic Cygnus, but it's been produced recently by Zorro. Keep commenting on the recent comments, and then I got to go back. Yeah, I am curious about you guys and your willingness to use alternate fuels. I've always been afraid I was going to smell up the lighter. Bridget says he uses leather hole punches for the gasket. It's perfectly round. Okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. It's exactly the kind of tip I was looking for. Matter of fact, I'm going to screenshot this right now so that I'll have a reminder. Let's see here. Can't get there we go. Piranha 5350, glad to have you with us today. Says, just passing, I have my grandma's old 24 karat gold Colibri touch sensor lighter. Yeah, I don't work on that sort of lighter. I don't work on butane, or I've never worked on any battery operated lighters, but I know that people do. You might ask in some of the Facebook lighter groups. Could also inquire with my friend not Friedrich, Donald Hind at lighterfix.dk. I don't know a whole lot of people who work on butane lighters. Oh, the electrode. I see what you're saying. Yeah, maybe I should try that. The actual where the spark's coming from. I mean, they get to the point that you can see it sparking and there's no ignition. But yeah, I will try that. Yeah, I guess anything I do to it isn't really gonna make matters any worse. Yeah, maybe I can. Yeah, let me do that. I'll try to clean it with some alcohol. Get a cotton swab, some toothpicks out, canned air. Yeah, lighters 2018. That's right. He works on butane lighters. I don't know if he's posted recently, but yeah, he does work on butane lighters. Huh. Coleman fuel. So you think Coleman fuel is identical to, say, Ronsonol? Chinese auction site, huh? Well, that's a lighter that for the right price, I'd be interested in, but I don't know. I don't even pay $27 for most of the Cygnuses. I did pay more than 27 for this one. Paid 30 something for this one, or somewhere in that neighborhood. Red enamel, huh? Yeah. Yeah, I wonder too about the quality of it. Like I said, this one with the Mount Fuji on it, you can see it's it's not on a plate like this one is, and that one looks pretty thick too. But this paint looks pretty thick. I wondered, looking at that black enamel on that one that sold on eBay, it made me wonder how much how it would withstand use. Like I said, I'm not really willing to put this one up to much more use at all. We'll light it up a time or two, but not going to be putting it in my pocket and trying to do anything like that. That's a really nice lighter. Really cool. See texture in that too. Not perfect, but I'm still very glad to have owned it. I think this may be a signature over here. Now I got a bunch of dogs, so I can hear them running around on the floor up ahead of me. Yeah, both lightweight petroleum distillate. Well, what auction site are you talking about, Friedrich? What's this? I'm not trying to get any secrets out of you or anything. I know we all got certain things about where we acquire things that you may not want everybody to know, so I'm not trying to get any secrets. But if you don't mind, what do you mind saying? Is it Alibaba or AliExpress? Okay, cool. At one point, I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I ever ordered anything off of there, but there was a site called DHgate, had a lot of interesting stuff. And I know I looked around on Alibaba at one point. Hello, Biljami Siponen. Glad to have you with us this late morning here in Oklahoma City. Are you a lighter fan? Did you just happen upon us? Do you collect vintage petrol lighters, or do you use lighters of any kind? I'm just finishing up a cup of coffee here that I added ice to while I set up. Hello, Jin Kim. Glad to have you with us, sir. Finishing up my coffee as I set up to make a video about this lighter, mainly hopefully getting the flint tension thumb roller mechanism working correctly. I've also been complaining about all the butane lighters that I've had to purchase that just crap out on me because they're just not very good quality lighters. The only quality lighter I seem to be able to use over any period of time at all when it comes to a jet flame have been the Ronson jet lights and the huge Bernzomatic torch. No real topic, yeah, just saying hello while I'm setting up to do some work. Been really busy with a couple of my grandkids lately. Got another grandkid on the way. Got a birthday for one of the others here in a couple of weeks. Got a lot of kids in our family right now, so really cool when we all get together. The artist's signature or the Urishi Studios name that did the work. And I didn't see any signature on this. So you mentioned Urishi and you mentioned Mackie. These are different. Yeah, definitely different. That one is iridescent like, where this one is different colors. Like I said, maybe some texture, but it doesn't have the same effect. It does appear to be pretty thick paint though, even though some of it has worn on the edges. Jin Kim might know more about that than I do. Or he definitely probably knows more than I do, but he might know something that none of the rest of us, or the rest of you, have brought up in regard to that. I don't know. He's definitely a expert when it comes to Zippo stuff. Okay, and he says that all he uses are Zippo branded butane inserts. I'll try to remember to say something about that when I finish here, when I finish with this comment. He said, I did notice one thing to make them run consistently aside from the flame size. When I go to strike the lighter, I slowly press the button. I don't press down quickly. Yeah, thanks for the congrats on the grandkid. It's awesome, man. They can't have enough as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I'll have to give that a shot, and it makes me wonder. It's in my bag, so give me just a second. Here's one of them, and this one, it's still good. I use it. I carry it with me when I go outside to smoke a joint, go to take a walk. But it's really just to have at the last resort, you can see, because it doesn't light very consistently. 1 out of every 3 at best. That time it was like 1 out of every 6. So I don't know if it just needs to be cleaned. Hadn't been used that much. But it's definitely not a consistent one. And this is the double torch, which I've been keeping this in my bag with the joint just in case I'm out somewhere and have the opportunity, but I haven't been using it a lot. So yeah, this slider is decent. The only problem with this one is it doesn't appear as though it's got anywhere near the fuel capacity of these jet lights. It goes dry so fast that I feel like I can only use it, I can only depend on it as like a last resort. But yeah, this is a good, I love this double torch. I just wish the fuel capacity was a little higher in it. I'd kind of forgotten about that because I just leave it in that pocket of the bag with a couple infused pre-rolls or whatever infused blunt I've found on sale at the dispensary. Yeah, and I can see where that might help with, well, it certainly doesn't seem necessary with this one. And what you're talking about won't really work with this one. That's the problem with this one, it's clunky, it's hard, it hurts. I didn't think that when I got it, and then when I tried to use it on a regular basis. Everybody else that I saw review it, John Roth, J-Row Lights, somebody else, I don't remember what, it might have been Mark Burris, somebody at the same time told me, oh, that thing is, it's too hard to actuate, and it really is. It's brutal on your thumb. I don't know why it's, the perfect execution of a butane lighter has seemed to elude Zippo for so long. They've just never nailed it. But this one is pretty good. I like the double. I do like it. But I wish it had a flint. I wish it was flint, and I wish it was easier to actuate. But, you know, can't get everything I want. Friedrich says Makey is the metallic powder under the Urishi lacquer. Okay. Urishi is just a traditional lacquer made from a bush that is in the poison ivy family. Okay. Urishi is the umbrella term. The other names refer to specific techniques under the Urishi umbrella term. It's been too cold here as of late to use butane lighters unless I keep it in my underwear to stay warm enough tonight. Yeah, you always keep it in your pocket real close. I haven't had any problem with them because they're not going outdoors. I use these indoors. And when I do go for a walk and carry these others with me, which I don't even like picking that one up. It hurts my thumb even to think about it. But when I do take these with me, that one works real well. I love the double torch. You can, you know, you got a blunt end of a cone. That needs to be heated evenly. When you get that, I was going to show you with one I had here, but I might get in trouble if I do that. So it's just real easy just to get the end of your joint, especially if it's like, even if it's got like a blunt wrap, and you can just spin it between the two right there in the middle. It's this is good. This is a good lighter to have if you. I've talked about this a lot of different times. Any old lighter will light a commercially produced tobacco cigarette, and I don't condone smoking commercial. I don't condone using tobacco. Period. I've I've done it in several forms. I've smoked over years of my life. I've dipped. I've chewed tobacco. I don't think any of it's good for you. I don't condone it. I think it's bad for your health. But my point is, any old Bic lighter or any flame off of a petrol lighter, all you need to do is just whiff the end of that lighter or the end of that commercially produced cigarette on that flame and give it a draw of your breath, and you're going to light that cigarette. But it's not so easy to light other products. Sometimes you need a stronger flame. And where did I set it aside to? This one is great for lighting. Like I said, a lot of medical marijuana products, pre-rolls, infused joints, blunts, they'll have a thicker end on them. They're not necessarily open. So you need something a little bit more intense as you inhale to evenly disperse that heat and light it evenly. So, anyway, it's pretty good. Just needs, I wish Zippo would, if they need to, make one that's this long. I need more. I need a bigger fuel tank. I need a fuel tank where it'll at least last me a day, to where I don't have to fill it up more than once a day. I'd be thrilled with that. Yeah, that's exactly my experience, Jin Kim. That is my feelings exactly. The more I use this one, the less I like it. And I love the idea. I love the idea of it. But it's just not, it's punishment. Hello, Christian Rona. Glad to have you with us this morning. I don't know if I would say that it's the best Zippo insert, because especially the petrol insert, just the regular petrol insert, the petrol pipe insert, those are great for a lot of applications. But like I said, if you smoke things that are packed into cones and then twist it off on the end and then you tear the excess off, but then you're still having to light it through that hemp or whatever paper, whatever that paper's made of. If you're lighting things like that, then yes, this is probably the one for you. The single torch is pretty good, or not this one, the other one. The single torch is pretty good too. But I think this one is great, the way that you get the two flames, and then you can just spin the tip of your product right there in the middle as you inhale, and you can get a perfect cherry on the end of that pre-roll. Yeah, you know, I was so excited when they came out with this insert that it had a flint ignition, flint spark. And I like that part of it. I'm glad they went for it. I hope they do it more. But the way that they have coupled it with this tiny little mechanism that you just are trying to catch this, you know, just barely catch the shelf of, it's just painful to actuate. Not fun. And the fact that it ignites, well, my experience of late is that it's at best a 1 out of every 3 igniter. From this video, you might think it's even worse than that. But that was 1 out of every 2 there. That's definitely, I got arthritis problems, I've got carpal tunnel. So that's definitely an issue with me with all of these. That's another issue with me at times, even with these jet lights. The button to actuate them is pretty stiff. So I get kind of tired And at times it will actually flare up my carpal tunnel, and I'll wake up and I'm crippled for a day or two, or at least hobbled. Can't function my thumbs or hands as I should be able to. So, yeah, it's an issue. Well, we've been on for a little over an hour and a half now. I think I will go ahead and hop off and record a video. Hopefully have that posted tomorrow, and at least for the time being, we will try to make that our new schedule, is posting a new long form video on Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. and then a short, hopefully every weekday at noon. Christian says she has seen one insert like the yellow flame that has the wheel, but the fuel turns on with the latch opening. My problem with that is fuel leaking every time you open it. I've seen the yellow flame that has the wheel, but the fuel turns on with the latch opening. That sounds like maybe, is that something that Zorro does? Or Vector? I know Zorro has several variations, I think, of butane inserts. But I don't think, what you're describing, you're not describing a Zippo insert, are you, Christian? And it sounds like what you're saying is that when the lighter is opened, the butane valve opens up. So it's just going to be spurting butane until you spin the wheel, because you said it had, I think you said it had flint. And of course then you wouldn't have to keep holding it down, so that might be easier on my carpal tunnel ridden hands for sure. Who makes that insert? Is that what you're talking about? You're talking about one of those Vector or Zorro? Anyway, I'm going to make that video, hopefully repairing this mechanism, showing off that lighter. I've got some other ideas. I don't know, I can't remember whether I've actually made a video on this or not. If I have, and I think I have, it just hasn't been edited. So, I'm always down for advice on good, inexpensive butane lighters, and I wouldn't put any of these in that category. Maybe this one, just because you can get it with 350, and with that fuel that it came with, you refill it 3 or 4 times, and that's probably worth $3.50 just there. These DeJeep are great lighters when they work, but this one crapped out on me real quick, not accepting fuel. This one accepts fuel but doesn't light anymore. Those DeJeep were really good. This one will probably fire right up right now, but the more you use it, it quits. No, it's not even going to fire right up. So anyway, just some of the ideas of what you might see soon. Got another lighter in the mail, should be in the mail today. So also got a ton of questions, videos that people have requested, that I'm just looking for the right lighter to work on to demonstrate that, or maybe even I have the lighter, I just haven't had the time to do it yet. But I appreciate all of you stopping by. I'll try to do it again. I'm not sure exactly even what the difference between a regular live stream and a vertical live stream is, but YouTube is always suggesting that I do a vertical live stream. So I just thought here recently, as I was getting ready, sometimes it's hard to find the time to chat, hang out, and just see how everybody's doing, see if anybody has a question. That's what we pretty much do any live stream. So maybe I'll keep doing this as I'm setting up each time, which should be at least every other Friday. Boo Rock Vintage Lighters, glad to have you with us, sir. Everybody should go over and check out his channel for sure. Boo Rock has been one of our oldest friends to this channel, one of our long-time supporters, and recently started that YouTube channel and posting over there. I think I've been over and viewed and liked all the videos that you've got posted so far. Good stuff. Any of the rest of you that have lighters that don't have a channel, you should think about it. I was talking to our buddy Jay Sales last week, or last time we had a live stream like this, because just like him, and I was telling him this that day, but a lot of you guys are the same way. Friedrich, Olarp Henningsen, he does a great job. Posts of his lighters on DependableFlame.com Facebook group and several other of the Facebook lighter groups. But you can tell those stories on YouTube, and you grow an audience, and you know, they'll even pay you a little bit for your effort of sharing. So it's really a great community on YouTube. I mean, I hear a lot of bad stuff about social media, and I use all of them for different purposes. I don't really fall into the same trap as most people. I use them for lighter content mostly, and family stuff, seeing pictures of family, friends, stuff like that. I don't fall into the whole political trap and all that. But YouTube for me has been one of the more pleasant experiences of a social media experience, because it is 99.9% positive. The people who are going to take their time to come over and watch content like this, they're interested. And even if they are just maybe they don't have any experience with lighters, but they like gadgets and other working on things, mechanical things, whatever, and they're going to be nice about it at least. I run into very few jerks on YouTube. And I think if you decided to share what you have, and some of you guys have a whole lot of cool stuff you can share, I think you're gonna see that everybody's just glad to see it. And like I said, gives us a better idea of what's out there, how much of what's out there, how easy it is to find certain things. The more we see of it, how difficult it is to find certain things. Is there anybody else out there that owns a Cygnus lighter with this sort of artwork on it? Just curious, how many of you have one of these? How rare? How uncommon or scarce? Or what are the other words that you might use for an item that you just simply don't see, at least very often? So anyway, there's value in these things. There's value in documenting. There's value in using. So I do hope that more of you will consider sharing, creating a YouTube channel, sharing it in posts on Facebook and Facebook lighter groups, whatever. Create your own website. So many options, so many ways you can do things. And I'm not sure why that's why. When the chat went off a while ago, it got off of the live chat over here where I'm monitoring it. I got a warning on my battery though, so I'm going to go ahead and end this chat, but I appreciate all of you joining us. Jin Kim, thank you. Well, what is your YouTube, Jim Kim? What's the channel name? Do I follow you? Have I commented on your videos? If I haven't, I should be. I subscribe to every lighter channel I can find. Literally. So if I'm not subscribed to your channel, I need to be. Is it called Jin Kim? Or is it called Ratty Zippos? Hey, those are the best kind to be working on, though. If they're already messed up, then, you know, what you messing it up a little more? All right, let me look this up. Necronius. Okay. A video collection of puzzles I have made and modified. I was not aware of this channel, so I am subscribing right now, sir. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out to me. Interesting. Looks like you got some Rubik's Cube videos. Familiar with the Rubik's Cube from my adolescence. Cool. Thank you, Jin Kim, for pointing that out to me. And I will watch your videos and make some comments and see exactly what kind of content you got there, sir. Thank you. Custom Rubik's Cube type puzzles, huh? Yeah, there's another thing that kind of looks like a snake that you can, it's made of triangles, you can form it into a ball. My granddaughter, I had one of those as a kid. Not as difficult as a Rubik's Cube. My granddaughter showed up with one of those a few weeks ago, and I had to twist it into the proper ball. The Rubik's Snake, is that what it was called? It's so long ago. I was in fourth or fifth grade, I think, when I got that thing. Probably fifth grade. It was definitely not in sixth grade. That was right before I moved. I grew up in a place called Del City, suburb of Oklahoma City, just east of Oklahoma City. From the time I was about a year old or so until I was 11. At that time we moved out to eastern Oklahoma County, which is actually Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City is a sprawling metroplex. Or I don't know if you call it a metroplex, but whatever it is, it's a sprawling, it's got more land surface than, I don't know. Houston may have as much. Last time I heard it was back and forth which one had covered more space. But there's actually towns in between some. So I actually spent a good deal and went to school in Midwest City, but like I said, we lived in Oklahoma City at that time. So I pretty much lived my entire life in the eastern suburbs of Oklahoma City. Besides a year here and there, year in Ada, Oklahoma. And then the last few years here in Deep Deuce. Last couple of years. Spent a couple of years over in Mesta Park before that. Interesting. That's something I hadn't really messed with since I was a kid, Jin Kim, but I'm sure I'll get exposed to it here watching your channel. So do you still post puzzle videos? Or have lighter videos been your most recent uploads? Got a good number of subscribers there. Anyway, back to see if anybody else jumps on while I'm saying goodbye. We'll light this one up again. And it hasn't missed since we filled it up today. So thanks again to, oh, I'm off the chat here. Let me get back. I'm drawing a blank on the individual who asked me if the lighters worked. Oh, and it's only going back so far when I get back. B-Funk. B-Funk was the one that asked me that. So it does work. And we'll be making a video for that other lighter back there. Yeah, I'm getting another 10% warning. But glad you all joined us. Glad that I was introduced to Necronius, Jen Kim's YouTube channel. If you have a YouTube channel, and especially if you're posting lighter content, post that in the comments. Let me know where you're at. If I'm not subscribed to you, I need to be. The more the better. We can't have enough vintage lighter or even petrol lighter content, or really any kind of lighter repair, even if it's repairing newer butane lighters. It'll be useful to somebody, even if it makes my head hurt to think about it. But petrol lighters are pretty simple. Until next time.